Hello there! Welcome to Hiking with the Book of Mormon and my gun. Got my Book of Mormon right there, and got my gun right there. You know, you need some spiritual protection, and you also need some physical protection, because who knows? I mean, I saw signs for rattlesnakes. You could run into crazy people, and I don't know, maybe there's like a pack of ravenous, bloodthirsty squirrels around here. You never know. So, got my protection, both spiritual and physical. All right, let's jump back in, go back to where we left off last time. And that is gonna be in 1 Nephi chapter 9. Let's get to it. And all these things did my father see and hear, and speak as he dwelt in a tent in the valley of Lemuel, and also a great many more things which cannot be written upon these plates. And now, as I have spoken concerning these plates, behold, they are not the plates upon which I make a full account of the history of my people. For the plates upon which I make a full account of my people, I have given the name of Nephi. Wherefore they are called the plates of Nephi, after mine own name, and these plates are also called the plates of Nephi. Nevertheless, I have received a commandment of the Lord that I should make these plates for a special purpose, that there should be an account engraven of the ministries of my people. So, now let me do one more verse first. Upon the other plates should be engraven the account of the reign of the kings and the wars and contentions of my people. Wherefore, these are for the more part of the ministry, and the other plates are for the more part of the reign of the kings and the wars and the contentions of my people. So, man, it is loud around here, isn't it? There's a highway not too far away in this canyon, so it's loud. I think it's pretty important to look at that. Like, he's talking about how there was a reason. Like, the Lord actually told him to make two sets of plates. One is more like a history book, kind of, is what it sounds like. The reign of the kings, the wars, the contentions, those types of things. But this book, this one that he's been told to make, is more about the ministries. So the spiritual things, the things that are helpful or beneficial when you're trying to grow your faith. And I would guess, maybe I'm wrong, but I would guess that when he began making these, he wasn't thinking about how he might be having scripture, like his writings would be given to the world. This was probably more like record keeping, just so he could remind his people of the past and help them not forget things. But if I had to venture a guess, he probably didn't know that his writings would be put into a book of scripture, something that would help countless people. I don't think he thought that. I don't think he thought, oh, I'm writing this so that I can have these scriptures, these writings go out to all the world. In fact, he even said there, he's like, it's for some special purpose that the Lord has. It sounds like he didn't even know. He didn't know these were going to be writings that would be read by millions upon millions of people. And it's really comforting to see that the Lord, even when we don't know things, He'll give us some help. He'll give us some direction, even if it doesn't really make sense at the time. I think we run into that a lot in our life. Maybe there is a career we're chasing, for example, or a man or a woman we're wanting to marry, or a school we're trying to go, any number of things. Maybe there's a direction we're heading in, and we're thinking, yeah, this is how it is. This is the way I'm going. But then the Lord comes in and he's like, you know what? You should actually go talk to that woman over there. Or you should actually go look at this school, even though it's 1,000 miles away from you. Or he might be like, you know what? Take this class. Go into, I don't know, accounting. Take this class. Because the Lord, he sees the future. Time is no barrier to him. Space and time are just words to the Lord. He sees it all. He knows it all. So he can direct us in the ways that will not only help us, but help others. And in the case of Nephi here, directing him to make a record that is focused on the ministries, the spiritual endeavors of his people. This was going to help millions and millions of people throughout time. So it's just a little comforting to me to know that the Lord will direct us for our good and for the good of the people that we might influence. Even if we don't always know why. Even if we don't know the purposes or the meaning of all things, he'll direct us. And I think that's one reason it's so important to be open to that direction, to be humble, I guess, to be willing to do as the Spirit directs. Because sometimes these things they're not going to make sense. If you have a something stuck in your head, a career path, a life, a hobby, a whatever it is, if you have something stuck in your head where you are thinking that is the end all be all, that is where you want to be, that's what you want to be doing, and then you get some spiritual direction that says, actually, go check this out. If you're not humble, it is very, very easy to, well, miss it. To miss what you could have gotten. To miss out helping not only you, but the people you may have helped if you followed that prompting. It's very, very important to follow promptings from the Lord. Because again, he can see it all. He knows what's coming. And even, or maybe I should say just as important, maybe more important, either way, the Lord also cares deeply for you and for the rest of the world. He's not going to direct you to do something that will not help you or help other people. He's not going to. He's not going to direct you to do something that has no purpose. There is always a plan, always a purpose behind what the Lord asks you to do. He's the master strategist. He is the master strategist. Ain't nobody gonna beat him in chess. So we should listen. We should listen. All right, let's keep going. Wherefore the Lord hath commanded me to make these plates for a wise purpose in him, which purpose I know not. So I guess I just needed to read one more verse. He just said what I was ranting at you about. But the Lord knoweth all things from the beginning. Again, I guess I should have just read a few verses more rather than ranting at you. Wherefore he prepareth a way to accomplish all his works among the children of men. For behold, he hath all power unto fulfilling of all his words. And thus it is. Amen. That can be difficult. That can be difficult. Let me explain. So when it talks about how he has all power, and I was just saying that he cares deeply for all of his children. He cares for you more than you care for yourself. He cares for me more than a sinful, imperfect person like I would ever care. But if that's the case, then why are there so many times that it seems like he's not answering us? He's not solving our problems. He's not helping us through the hard times. Why is that? It seems like if you really cared for someone, wouldn't you do everything for them? Wouldn't you make their life easy and comfortable and joyful all of the time? Wouldn't you do that? Here's the problem with what I just said. Thinking that someone's life is the best possible because they have no opposition, because they have no hardship, because they have no struggle, is a blatant misconception, or you could even say it's a blatant lie of the adversary, of the devil. In fact, if we have no opposition, if we have nothing that is standing in our way, we become weak, and we do actually become less happy. Now, I'm not saying suffering on a 24/7 basis will make you happy, but if you are completely without opposition, completely without struggles, you're not going to be happy. You are not going to be happy. I've experienced it, and I'll give you so for example, no opposition to your body. Let's say you're totally at ease, you're carried around. In fact, let's look at a Disney movie called WALL-E. So these people were so taken care of, every single need, every single want, everything was taken care of. And look how they turned out. They're these fat guys and gals floating around on chairs who can barely even walk. In fact, it's like a momentous, amazing moment when one of them walks. So, with the body, it's very clear that without opposition, you start to become weak. You start to become unhappy too. I mean, my personal life, so I've had a lot of pain in my body. Even though I'm not that old, I've had all the different many different kind of pains, from neck pain to back pain to knee pain to feet pain to head pain to carpal tunnel to nerve damage. I've had a lot of different kind of pains in my body. I'm not that old, but I've found something very interesting. When I am not going through a struggle for my body. Oh geez, that is a rattlesnake right there. I guess I'd be careful when I'm, it's right there. when I am reading and talking that I'm not too distracted, or I might just get bit. Don't want that. So, sorry, I got distracted by the rattlesnake. My body. So when I'm thinking about my body, I've had a lot of pain, and I've found though that when I have opposition, when I'm actively exercising, when I have that struggle, my body actually hurts less. Unless, of course, I go too far to the other side and I destroy my body. But that's an extreme. The matter of the fact of the matter, though, is that when I sit around and I laze and I have no exercise, I'm in more pain overall. But when I exercise, when I am working out, when I am walking, when I'm hiking, like I'm doing now, when I actually have physical exercise regularly, I actually have a lot less pain in my body. So that is a very, very interesting thing that I've come to realize. And it holds true with my spiritual side as well. It's not just my physical body that gets stronger when I have opposition, but it's my spiritual side too. If I'm going through spiritual struggles, whether that's doubts about something, whether that's people coming and attacking my faith, whether that is being in the middle of a trial that it doesn't seem like I'm getting help from the Lord from, when I am struggling spiritually, that makes me stronger in my faith, not weaker. It makes me stronger in my faith. Because you see, it gives me a chance to choose the Lord even when it is difficult. And that's when character is built. It's not when you're sitting on the couch, everything is great, you're laughing with your friends. That's not when character is built. Character is built when you are in the midst of temptation, when a friend offers you a chance to break the commandments. That is when you are in the midst of doubts, when you wonder, is God really there? Does he really care for me? Yeah, he might care for all these other people, but does he actually care for me? When you are in the difficult times, when there is opposition, that is when you actually get a chance to choose what side you're on. Get a chance to grow spiritually. And I'll tell you, there's actually been times where I've had a long period that I really wasn't getting any type of opposition. It didn't seem like anything was going wrong. And at first, I loved it. It was a breath of fresh air. It was great not having anything go wrong. Seemed like every single one of my prayers were answered. Seemed like things just were going my way. At first, it was great. But as time went on, and still there was no opposition, there was no struggle, I actually started to become unhappy because there was nothing to surmount. There was nothing standing in the way. It almost felt meaningless. If there was no opposition, then I accomplished basically nothing. And I can't tell you why, but that simple fact where I didn't feel like I was accomplishing anything, that started to make me pretty unhappy, pretty miserable. In fact, just a side note on that, on how we as humans crave accomplishment and achievement. We crave surmounting something difficult. There's a lot of examples, but this is the first one that came to mind. I think that's why video games are so addicting to so many people, because you can accomplish a lot. You can do something difficult per se in a virtual space in a much quicker period of time. So like you can accomplish some things with some opposition, but it goes quicker. I think that's why video games are so addicting to so many people, because of that chance to achieve, and in a quick period of time. But regardless, going back to what I was saying, if we don't have any type of opposition, it really is kind of meaningless. Like, it doesn't feel like there's any point to it. It's like running a race by yourself and then them giving you the first place medal. You were guaranteed that. There was nothing, like, it doesn't matter at all. So I hope you can kind of see what I'm trying to say here if you think about it. Like, think about times in your life when there was no opposition, when it was not hard, when you never had anything standing in your way. Were you actually happy? I mean, like I said, at first, it was a breath of fresh air, not having to struggle. But pretty quickly, it started becoming its own type of struggle. It started becoming its own type of trial of my faith. Because in a way, it kind of felt like I had been forgotten. And that may sound backwards. It kind of sounds backwards as I'm saying it. But it kind of felt like I had been forgotten, because if nothing is really changing or standing in the way, no one's really needing to help me. It's kind of just me. Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I should go into that. Not really sure, but there you go. There's some rantings for you. Okay, so that was 1 Nephi chapter 9. It was a pretty short one. And basically at the end of that chapter there, this theme keeps coming up again and again. And I never realized actually how often this theme is coming up in the scriptures until I started doing this hiking with the Book of Mormon and my gun. I never realized how frequently it is stated that the Lord doesn't give commandments, doesn't give you things you need to do without providing a way to do it. Because that came up right there at the very end. Right there at the very end, it says, "Wherefore he prepareth a way to accomplish all his works among the children of men." It keeps coming up again and again and again, and I never realized how common a theme this was, that the Lord's never gonna give you something to do unless he prepares a way for you to do it. And that is a very comforting sentiment, theme, whatever you want to call it. And one last thing before I go to reading on to the next chapter. Kind of going back to say one more thing about how it said he has all power. Yes, sometimes we have to wonder why he isn't helping us if he has all power. And I hope I gave a couple reasons there that might sit with you, all right? But let me say that he does actually help us a lot. The Lord actually helps us a lot more than we realize. He is walking with us far more then we realize, I keep saying that word, I feel like I need a different word, but really, he is there. He's walking beside us. He's sending his angels to bear us up. He's answering our prayers. He's giving us strength when we have no strength left. He's protecting us from so many unseen dangers to our spirit and to our body. He is there. He has all power, and he is using that power for our good. He really is. If we could somehow see the heavenly hosts around us, we would be absolutely shocked. There's actually a verse or a story in the Old Testament. I always forget if it's Elisha or Elijah. I get the two mixed up. But this prophet, he has another man with him, and these two are standing at the gates. They're basically waiting for an army to come, and it's just the two of them kind of sitting there. So I'm sure if you're in that situation, you realize an old man and a younger man, not very good odds against an entire army, right? But then Elisha says something to this younger man. He says, "Those that be with us are more than those that be with them." And I'm sure this younger man looks around and he's like, "What are you talking about? There's two of us. They are an army. What's going on?" And at that point, Elisha, he says a prayer, and he asks the Lord to open the eyes of this man so that he may see the heavenly hosts that surround them. And this boy does see, or this man, he sees. And he sees chariots and armies of heavenly hosts surrounding them, filling the expanse around them. And I think it's often like that with us. I think it's often like that with us. We don't realize how much the Lord is using his power to succor us, to lift us up, to protect us. We might think like, why aren't you helping me through this difficult thing? You know what? I think he probably is helping you through that difficult thing. I think he is helping you. But our eyes are not always open to see that help. Our eyes are sometimes closed to the spiritual things around us. We aren't always able to see the angel that is holding us up. We aren't always able to see Christ as he is walking beside us. We don't always get to see that. In fact, we often don't see that. But that does not mean they're not there. And often, very often, when you start looking backward, when you start looking in reverse, your vision is a lot more clear. And you can look at those difficult times, and you can see that the Lord actually was there holding you up, and angels were surrounding you and protecting you, helping you through the difficult times. Okay, so there's that. Anyways, that's this episode. That is chapter 9, and next time we'll go into 1 Nephi chapter 10. But until then, if you're liking the content, like it, subscribe, so you know when more episodes are coming out. comment. Throw down some comments. I always love to see comments. I'll typically even answer comments that aren't very flattering to me. And I try to be nice about it too. But comment and share it with some people. I'm sure some of my ramblings somewhere in this episode, in any of the episodes, will help someone. And even if they won't, the scriptures I read will. So share it with someone. And until next time, go out there and have some fun, do some hiking, take some protection with you. You might run into stuff. I mean, I ran into something, like ran into that rattlesnake earlier. Didn't shoot it, but you never know. You might need some protection out there. Something might be coming after you. You never know how many bloodthirsty squirrels are out there. Anyways, have fun out there.